Hello everyone. So today I wanted to talk about how to start creating a healthy relationship with food. So I'm Michaela Carpenter, I'm a food freedom coach and I specialize in helping people overcome restrictive dieting and emotional eating through healing their relationship with food. So obviously this topic is a really important one. Being able to really create a relationship with food that feels good and is healthy is so empowering. And I really just wanted to break it down a little bit for you guys in this video. So if this is something you're interested in learning more about, make sure you keep on watching and we will hop straight into it. First thing that is really important to do is to first reflect on your current relationship with food. So really looking at where you're at, what things you're not happy with. Obviously if there's emotional eating, that sort of thing happening, really getting curious about what's going on, what's triggering these things. So really just having a piece of paper, just kind of writing down all the things that come to mind when you think of your current relationship with food, and just coming at it from a place of compassion and curiosity when it comes to seeing what it is like at the moment and what you would like to change. And yeah, just starting from that place is really important as a first step, so that you know where you're starting from, obviously, and where from here we can kind of start to set some goals and stuff around where you would like to be. So that is the first thing that I recommend doing. And from here, for the second thing is to set some goals, set some realistic goals. Get really clear on where you would like your relationship with food to end up, what you would like it to be like. And from here you'll be able to set some goals to aim towards, and especially in the beginning, in the first few months, that sort of thing. So this could look like goals like incorporating more vegetables in your meals, or staying more hydrated, including more variety, trying different meals maybe. And it could also include things like being more kind towards yourself if you do find yourself emotionally eating, or it could be getting really curious about the emotional eating and understanding what is causing it. Yeah, that sort of thing. So obviously it's going to look different for everyone, and you want to just start setting some goals, and don't feel like you have to do it all at once, because if you're wanting to really create a healthy relationship with food, we really want to look at long-term sustainability of it. We don't want to be looking at all these short-term goals that we want to achieve, and it's just too much to kind of try and do it once, and then once we've achieved those goals we kind of go back to what we were doing before. So we really don't want to do that. We really want to start setting some goals, some small goals towards that bigger vision, or the bigger picture of where you want your relationship with food to be. So that is the second thing that I recommend doing. Another thing I encourage you to do is to start practicing mindful eating. So really becoming really present when you are having a meal, when you are eating food. So really just allowing yourself that time to notice how it's making you feel, how it's filling your belly more as you're eating, that sort of thing. And this could be one of your goals as well. It could be that you're setting a goal of focusing on mindful eating for one of your meals during the day, aiming towards including more of these mindful eating, aiming towards more mindful eating in general is really helpful. Another one is to focus on diversifying your plate, so really focusing on how you can try new vegetables, new fruits, new different sorts of foods, and really just changing it up, and having fun with it, because we want it to be fun, and creating a healthy relationship with food can be fun. And yet by kind of trying out new recipes and doing things maybe you wouldn't usually do, it can be really helpful to make it fun. But also obviously don't feel like you have to do everything, like I've said, everything at once. You have to change everything at once. We really don't want you to feel that way. We don't want you to start feeling overwhelmed. So really just focus on maybe even just one meal a week where you're going to try a new recipe or try and change it up, and kind of building on that rather than trying to change everything at once. So that is another wee idea, thing to kind of aim towards and focus on. So another one is to embrace intuitive eating. So this is kind of similar to the mindful eating piece, but this is really just focused on in general how you're approaching your relationship with food and diet. So really, instead of going on a restrictive diet, or a diet that tells you you're going to eat then at certain times of the day, at certain times of the day, and once you'll finish that meal, it's done, whether you're hungry or over full. Instead of that, really trying to tune into your body and listen to when you are feeling hungry, and really using that as your guide to when you'll be eating and how much you'll be eating of that food. So this obviously in itself is a whole practice in itself, so something that's going to take a lot of time to get used to. And like I've said with the other ones, really just starting small. And obviously I've given you a few different things to kind of think about. Not feeling like you have to do all of that at once either. So I would just pick one thing at a time to kind of focus on learning before you, instead of trying to chuck everything in at once, because it can be really exciting and you can feel really enthusiastic to try everything at once. But I highly recommend just picking one, maybe two things to start changing at once, so that you do not feel that overwhelm, and you're focusing on those long-term changes of creating that healthy relationship with food. So yeah, that is another thing, is really just embracing intuitive eating and really just starting to listen to your body, because it's something we really don't do enough of, and that's is a really important thing to start learning to do, to be able to create that healthy relationship with food, and yeah, to just make sure that we are nourishing our bodies the way they need to be nourished, because obviously when we're feeling hungry we probably need something, and really just looking at how we can nourish our bodies in those moments. And that kind of leans on to my next what am I calling them, tips, is to focus on crowding out the less nutritious foods. So rather than trying to cut out foods, I highly recommend focusing on what nutritious foods you can add into your diet. So when you are feeling really hungry, how could you fuel your body with some whole foods, rather than telling yourself you can't have the less nutritious foods, so packaged foods and stuff. Rather than telling yourself you can't have that, really instead focusing, how can I nourish my body right now with some fruits and veggies, or some other sort of thing, maybe rice, whatever it is, so that I'm fueling my body with the best sort of nutrition that I can, and having this as your main focus, rather than focusing on cutting foods out. So this will really help when it comes to things like embracing intuitive eating as well, because we are really listening to our bodies, and giving them what they really want. So my next one is to cultivate a positive mindset when it comes to food. So really getting rid of the labels such as good and bad, which I kind of talked about before, but really focusing on that really positive way of looking at food and what it is for, instead of seeing it as something to restrict, seeing it as a way of nourishing our bodies, taking care of our bodies, rather than as a way of looking a certain way, losing weight, that sort of thing. So really shifting the focus away from things like the way we look and the weight that we are, towards how we can better take care of our bodies, and almost being able to really just try and let go of the idea of weight as the main focus, is a really important thing to be able to do. And obviously, like everything that I've discussed here, that takes time and practice, but it is such an important part of it. So that is another thing. So the next one is seek support and education. So really, by watching this YouTube video, for example, you're doing this already. You're really just leaning into the supports out there, the resources that are available to really start doing these things and start creating that relationship with food that you really want. If you would like extra support and you're not already a part of my Facebook community, I also share lots of resources. I do monthly events in there as well. So if you're not part of my community already, make sure you do join. It is a really good one, and it's obviously full of supportive people, and yeah, I'd love to have you in there if you haven't joined already. So the final one I want to say is to celebrate the achievements on the way, and this also means to be okay with the failures. I don't like the word failure. I think learning opportunities is a much more positive way of looking at it, so I'm going to say that. So if you find yourself really struggling to get out of some sort of habit, or you find yourself feeling like you're falling back into old habits, being able to use this as a learning opportunity rather than a reason to beat yourself up is really important and powerful shift to be able to make, Once you're able to do this and really start using these things as learning opportunities, you'll be amazed at just how much quicker and easier it is to really create that healthy relationship with food that you want, because it is in those moments where if we find ourselves slipping back into some sort of old pattern or whatever it is, if we beat ourselves up over it, we're much more likely to just continue that cycle. And I know definitely for myself and the people I've worked with, my past clients and my current clients, that the relationship with yourself is such an important part of it. And when we go and beat ourselves up over a mistake, we really are feeding into negative thought patterns about ourselves, and this really isn't helpful. We really want to start changing this and shifting this. So even if you get anything out of this video, start there. If you're feeling unsure about where to start, definitely start there. Start with how you're speaking towards yourself, especially if you find yourself doing something that you're not happy with. Really start turning it around and saying, okay, well, this happened. How could I do it differently next time? How could I help myself more next time to stop this from happening? And just coming at it from that place of curiosity and compassion towards yourself. Very underrated and is such an important part of it. So that is all I wanted to talk about with you guys today. If you have any questions about it, like always, make sure you just leave a comment below and I'll answer them. And yeah, the link to join my Facebook group is also in the description, so if you want to join, just pop in there. And yeah, I post weekly videos, so if you enjoyed this video and you want to keep learning more about this, definitely make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys next week.